Longworth, and welcome to another edition of Triad Today. Coming up later on, our infamous roundtable gets together. We'll tackle all sorts of controversial topics, so stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, we have some great guests and important information coming your way. We'll talk about a civic-minded company in Greensboro that's doing a lot with scholarships, offering scholarships to students. That's fascinating. We'll tell you more about that. Also, the relationship between the arts and your health. That and other topics coming up. But first, let's turn our attention to voting, the importance of, and voting registration, the importance of that, community engagement. We're going to cover all those topics with two great folks, one who's here every week just about, and another who's here for the first time. On my immediate right, we introduce for the first time here Laura Starling. She's advisor for Ground Game Innovations. Also, she's the host of Queen City Fame. Is that right?
That's correct.
It's a good show. It's down in Charlotte.
Right, based in Charlotte.
That's the Queen City thing.
That's the Queen City thing.
So folks here can't get it.
Oh, no, you can get it all over, online.
Online, okay.
Online.
And then next to our Charlotte host, who's everywhere. See, that's what I say.
That's right. She's everywhere.
I don't understand the internet. Is Keith Granberry, who's founder of Helping Hands Consultants and has been doing a lot of work throughout the year and getting people registered to vote. Keith, let me start with you. What is the mission of Ground Game Innovations?
Well, that's a group that is that I've been working with in terms of from a logistics standpoint, liaison. They've been working as a vendor to help people register to vote. And it's really important because in this community and around the country, registering to vote gives the communities power. It gives them something that they can do in order to change politics or change issues if they get involved. And so the Ground Game is the group that has stepped to the forefront to help people not only get jobs, but also to register folks to vote around the country.
Laura, how would you define civic engagement, and why should people be engaged in their community?
Well, civic engagement is really important, especially in your community. You know, we tend to always complain about things, but we don't want to do anything about it. We don't want to go to the meetings. You know, we don't want to be on the public forums and really express what we need, basically, even in our neighborhoods, our streets.
Right.
You know, many people don't even know who their city officials are.
Right.
Couldn't even pinpoint them.
No, that's true. That's true. There's a lot of apathy out there on that, as a poll recently suggested. Laura, while I'm talking with you, let me ask you this. You believe, you and Keith both, in educating people about issues. So I guess let me just be devil's advocate here. What kind of issues are important to educate people about in this kind of an election year?
Oh, wow. There's so many issues. I mean, jobs, number one, I would say. Cost of living, which is really tough. It's really happening right in the Charlotte area, in the Queen City, where people that live there for years can't really afford to, you know, have a home there.
It's sad. And of course, healthcare costs going up too.
Healthcare costs going up as well. And they're really working on that right now with the new mayor in Charlotte is trying to work on, you know, providing housing for many people that they can't really afford it.
And it's important to know how local people, officials who are running for office and federal office and whatever, stand on these issues that are important to you and the community.
Your
Keith,
everyday life.
Your everyday life. And that brings me to this question for Keith. There will be some people that will say, Keith, I know there's an election in November, but we're not voting for president. So I may not vote. Your reaction?
I would say that is the wrong answer. I would say that policies are made many times in off-year elections. Many times people want to get involved in the presidential election, but there are local races that help depend on everything that you do in your life, from how much your water bill is to your community and resources. All these things are involved in local elections, and people forget that, and people become senators off of 2,000 or 3,000 votes when there are hundreds of thousands of votes in that community.
Absolutely.
Get involved, stay involved. Civic engagement is key.
And maybe we can get the two of you back another time to talk about barriers that people face to voting, but one way or the other, you got to get registered, and so we want to do that. Up on screen, groundgameinnovation.com. You can learn more about that, and it is important to register to vote because of the election coming up, and you can see Queen City Fame on the internet, right?
The ON channel, that's the ON channel.
The ON channel. That's my channel. I'm on. I'm on. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having us.
All right, Keith. And Keith will be around later for the roundtable this evening. Back now on Triad Today. I always like it when we can get our good friend Dr. Bill Satterwhite here because he is just a wealth of information, and it's important information too. in all seriousness. And you meet him right now. Dr. Bill Satterwhite is Chief Wellness Officer for Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
You know, when I think about art, my late father was an artist.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, you know, Dad did some stuff that was really neat to look at. From your perspective, you're going to educate us today a little bit about why the arts in general, are more than just something to appreciate.
Yeah, I'm happy to have that opportunity. The arts actually, from our perspective at Wake Forest Baptist Health, are that they really address sort of the overall well-being personhood of somebody.
How so?
Well, there are many things that arts actually do to improve people's overall well-being. So even if we're outside the patient context, people that engage in artistic activity, which can be singing, dancing, drawing, photography, and it's very wide open, they in general, and again, this is anybody in the community, tends to be more happy, less depressed, more active, and in a better state of mind and well-being.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, so that's really everyone, and then we've taken a lot of that and said, okay, now how can we inject that into actually our caring environment to say, you know, we know you're more than just a body part.
Yeah.
Right? And it's very important, and it has huge significant impacts for people.
And it has, I think you've used the phrase too, or you sent me an email, or Joe did one day, about healing art. Can it have healing properties? Can the arts have healing properties, aside from the things you talked about that could be preventative in nature?
Yeah.
What about healing properties?
Yeah, it actually can. So for example, people who are undergoing cancer therapy in the midst of treatment, when they engage in art activities, they actually have less depression, less anxiety, and less pain, purely by doing that during the course of their treatment.
Wow. And it's good for the mind, and some of these things are good for the body, for the mind, and these preventative things and healing things are so important. But I guess so far we've sort of alluded to all this in terms of being an adult. But let's not leave out the kids. Are there specific things and specific ways that Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center is thinking about the link between arts and kids?
Yeah, very much so. And they make that leap and link really easily, the kids do. So at Brenner Children's Hospital, we have a program called Arts for Life, where the kids are both engaged in education and activity that's very artistic. And of course, kids love play.
Sure.
Right? So they can move into that zone really easily, which also means they then kind of move out of this zone of a place that's very unnatural,
right,
a little bit weird for them. I'm here for a long period, I'm getting treatment, this is no fun. And then it just becomes entering a whole new world.
Exactly.
And they do better. It's very helpful.
Are there arts, activities, programs, events, and things that Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center supports in the community, sort of tying into what we've been talking about?
Yeah, lots. We actually are a major sponsor for the Arts Council, and Dr. Julie Freischlag, our CEO, is heading that up this year. We actually do a lot with Brenner Children's Hospital and the program for children that's actually called the Winston-Salem Symphony Concert, sort of kids series.
Oh, that's
for
right,
that.
yeah.
Major sponsor for that, which is great because it's essentially high-end symphony music on a level that engages children.
Yeah.
Which is very good. And then we do a lot of other smaller things.
How about that? And here I opened up saying that I used to appreciate my daddy's artwork, and now the arts in general you can appreciate them from a healthy standpoint
So
too.
here's my last secret tip for you. Before you're headed into something stressful, all you have to do is listen to relaxing music, and your body literally will make less of the stress hormones that make you tense.
Can you just follow me around my entire life and tell me stuff?
Well, I cannot. Yeah, I can follow you around and tell you stuff. I thought you were going to say, "Will you follow me around and sing or something?"
well,
which would not make
no,
your stress go down.
No, that would make it go up. But no, here's the website: wakehealth.edu/arts. Check that out. Always giving us food for thought, something to think about to keep us healthy. Dr. Bill Satterwhite.
All right, thanks.
Thank you,
Good
my
to see
friend.
you today.
We'll be right back after this. On Triad Today, and have a lovely lady here that's we're going to talk with about some great things that she and her colleagues do for our community, especially for kids, and we just appreciate what she does. And here she is. Tanya Foltz is a coordinator of Project Family Engagement, works with Goodwill Industries in Northwest North Carolina. Again, a great public servant, and we welcome you to Triad Today again. How you doing?
Thank you. I'm good. How are you?
Good. For folks that don't know, just give me a quick description of what Project Family is all about.
Okay, so Project Family is the newest division of Project Reentry. So for the past 11 years, we've been working with the participant inside. But now we want to have a deeper impact and now work with the families, and especially the children, and be an advocate for the children on what do they want, what are their realities, what are they going through because their parents incarcerated.
That's right. So we're talking about a mom or a dad who have been in the prison system, the penal system.
Right.
And what effect the kids of all ages,
Exactly.
what effect this has on them. Now, give me maybe a couple, I know this puts you on the spot, I want to talk about specific goals that you might have for the program. Give me maybe an idea or two about specific goals.
Well, just also too, to let you know, in North Carolina, there's over 179,000 children that's been impacted by their parental incarceration.
Wow.
So, and I think that number's low because a lot of families don't report because they're afraid of the stigma, or maybe the kids will be taken away. So I think there's like a true need out there. So what we want to do is like look at what is the best interest of the kids. So mom may have an idea, or dad, caregiver may have an idea, but what do the parents need, and identify resources and help them with reunification on whatever that looks like. And every family's different, and it may not be the parent coming into the household, but how can we best support the child?
And tailor it to their needs.
Absolutely.
What kind of services does Project Family offer or provide in general? I mean,
So it's just really looking at the individual family and setting goals to whatever challenges they have, where it can be identifying services, maybe food, maybe just basic needs, and it could be helping with counseling, referring to counseling, and it just be support of you're not alone in this, there's someone here to help you.
now let me ask a stupid question. I want to find out how somebody gets to participate in this. Now, let's say there's a father who has been incarcerated, who's getting released. The mother, let's say, has 2 teenagers at home. Certainly a teenager doesn't call your office and say, how
Right.
can you help me? I mean, how is this generated?
So the mother can call, or the parent that's incarcerated, if they're one of our pre-release sites for Project Reentry, they can just let that facilitator know, and they can connect them to me.
All right. Now, is there a fee for this program if I want you to help sit down and work with me on what our family needs for this?
There's no fee, because that's where the Goodwill donations come into play, because they support our program.
And I think it's a good, sometimes people say, hey, Jim, don't do a commercial, but I think I want to give a plug here, because sometimes people forget that when they take items and donate them at Goodwill, those items then go over to Goodwill stores. They're sold in the Goodwill stores. The proceeds from that go directly back to helping with services and programs just like this one, so that there isn't a fee involved for this and workforce development and all these great things that Goodwill does. So that's why it's important. Don't throw things away. Take them to Goodwill.
Donate them.
How can folks learn more about Project Family?
They can go to the Goodwill website, and also just Project Reentry and Project Family is a partnership with Goodwill. So it's under Piedmont Triad Regional Council. They can also go to the PTRC website as well. You can find it on both places.
PTRC website, but also Goodwill, NWNC.org.
Right.
And you have some big things coming up later in the summer. We'll talk about those another time when you come back. Tanya, thanks for all you do.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll be right back after this. Triad Today, and I'm really excited about talking with these 3 people. 2 of them have been on the show several times before, and they do great community service. The other folks, the other lady you're going to meet is a recipient of a scholarship. We're going to find out all about that. But on my immediate right, our good friend, Ruth Hyde, who's Executive Director of Community Engagement for Crumley Roberts. And then next to her is our special guest that Ruth and Corey brought with her, Lauren Bird, and newly married, so congratulations on that. Recipient, of course, of a Next Step Scholarship. We'll tell you what that's all about. Corey Phillips, of course, Project Manager at Kids Zone and Community Outreach for Crumley Roberts. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you.
Ruth, let me start with you, and let's just remind folks who haven't seen the show before, maybe just moved into the area, what the 2 kinds of scholarships are that Crumley Roberts offers.
Yes, so through our Education Advancement and Leadership Center at Crumley Roberts, each year we give out 6 scholarships. 3 of them are Founders Scholars, who are North Carolina high school seniors graduating and going on to a 4-year program. And then we also have our Next Step Scholarship, which are students currently in a community college transferring to a 4-year program.
And that's where Ms. Bird
Yes,
fits
that's
in.
where we got to meet Lauren.
We'll get to her in just a second. One more question for you, Ruth. What was the mission, the purpose behind offering these kind of scholarships? Because it's very specialized, and it seems like it's very targeted and very well thought out.
Yes, and so we believe through Kim and Chris Roberts and their vision with our Leadership Center is that we need to support the love of learning in our community. and the love of learning through our students in the university and college systems across North Carolina and beyond. And so part of the mission and vision of these scholarships are supporting these young students who are wanting to better themselves through education.
Absolutely. Lauren, let me turn to you. What college have you been attending and what university are you headed for?
I have been attending Guilford Technical Community College, and I'll be going to UNCG in the fall.
I'm a Spartan.
Yeah.
I graduated in 1908. Let me do the math on that. What impact do you think the scholarship will have on you, Lauren?
Well, I know it's going to be financially helpful, and also it's helped with my self-esteem because not only do I know that my hard work's paid off with grades and I'm being recognized for that, but also with the scholarship that I wrote just about my struggles and how I'll try and use those to help other people.
Corey, I don't want to embarrass Lauren, but can you give us any insight on the presentations that were made and maybe why she's a recipient and anything that might have impressed you, any highlights from the presentations of the scholarships?
I'd be proud to. So obviously everyone that we looked at was very academically gifted. Lauren, certainly as she said, is included in that group. Where the 6 recipients really shined was their opportunity to share when they in their life stood up for someone else. And so obviously, Crumley Roberts, we stand up for you. How do others stand up for others in their community? And so Lauren shared with us one of 6 incredible stories where she put others before herself. And I think now, especially in the news today, that's a rarer quality than we would like to see.
It is.
But thank goodness that there are Lauren and 5 others this year that stepped up in really amazing ways all across the state. That honestly, it's really great to sit next to her and just be able to share and celebrate with her.
Lauren, one other thing for you. What career path do you want to pursue?
I would like to be a psychiatrist.
A psychiatrist?
Yes.
Well, you know, Corey and I need a lot of help.
I can help you one day.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good. Well, look, I really appreciate the 3 of you doing this, and maybe we can come back sometime and talk about some of the stories that people have shared with you, because now I'm intrigued by what Corey said about some of these unselfish acts that people are doing. I'm just intrigued about it. Maybe we can do something on that.
Absolutely.
But Lauren, congratulations on
Thank
the
you.
wedding and the scholarship and
you.
everything. All right, a website, crumleyroberts.com. Please go to that, find out all sorts of information about this great group of people. And we will be right back. Triad Today. Before we get to the roundtable, just a sad note to report. Ron Drago passed away a few days ago. You may have already heard this. He was the longest serving CEO of the Forsyth County United Way for many, many years. I remember I had him on the show years ago, and I asked him what got him into public service, and he said that he served for 2 years in Africa in the Peace Corps. And that turned him on to it, and he turned out to be a great public servant, and we lost him too soon, Ron Drago. All right, now, on a happier note, we get ready for the roundtable, and I will tell you off the bat that Keith Granberry is hung up in traffic somewhere. He may or may not make it in here. A helicopter could land on this desk at any moment. We don't know. But for the time being, there are 3 of us here, and next to me, of course, talented, beautiful, tough taskmaster, president of Dudley Beauty Products, Ursula Dudley Oglesby is with us, and next to her, somebody you've seen on the show many times before, but the first time on the roundtable, Dave Briggs is director of the High Point Theater, and we welcome both of you to this.
Thanks, Jim.
I want to spend most of our time talking about school safety. There's been 42 shootings or threats in North Carolina since the Parkland, Florida thing. In light of that, 3 Republican lawmakers in the state want to give teachers an additional 5% raise if they get training to also serve as a school resource officer. Are you okay? Are you all right with paying teachers a raise to be policemen too? Ursula?
No, I'm not. I think we need to give teachers a raise, period, for the work that they do, but not to be a resource officer. I think we need to incentivize them to do other things so that they continue to be great teachers.
All right, David.
Well, I think in many instances, teachers are already being police officers in their classroom.
Yeah, and you were a teacher and your wife's a teacher.
I was a teacher, my wife is a teacher, but to give them a raise to do that, I do think that there are, people who are sort of enforcers in schools that can help out in locations. I'm not so sure that I agree
Yeah,
with.
we talked about teachers carrying guns and all this, but
arming
this
teachers.
specific proposal would
Yeah.
be, should they get a raise? Keith, it was nice of you to join us. Keith is here from LaGuardia Airport. He just flew in. Anyway, the question is, should teachers get a 5% raise for training as a SRO and being a policeman as well as a teacher?
No. I think they should get training for safety precautions, but not being a policeman.
All right.
Policemen need to be policemen.
Meanwhile, up in New Hampshire, legislators want to pay for a $100,000 death insurance policy on any teacher who dies as a result of a school shooting. This is morbid stuff. But anyway, are you okay with taxpayers footing the bill for death insurance policies for teachers under those circumstances? It's a weird question, Ursula.
It is a strange question. I think that we should pay for life insurance for teachers regardless, but whether or not there should be an increased amount if they're killed in a school shooting, I'm not so sure.
Kind of sick, isn't it?
Yes, a little.
It is kind of sick. I think they might be better off to invest their money in lightning insurance.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a nice gesture that the guy's trying to do
I
in New
don't buy
Hampshire.
that one.
Keith.
I think they should invest in insurance for teachers. I mean, we need to give teachers pay raise. We need to also make sure they're safe and secure. And in today's environment, with the security being the way it is in many of these schools, they absolutely need to provide these security measures for teachers.
Colonel Oliver North, the new president of the NRA, says that school shootings are a result of a culture of violence in America. Now, Oliver North, say what you will about him. I know he's in denial about assault weapons and things like that. I'm not a fan of his, I'll just tell you. But a lot of people are saying the same thing, culture of violence. Does he have a point about why we have so many shootings and threats and things going on? Ursula?
I think so. I think that with the video games for these children that we're allowing our children to play, that there's so much violence in there, it's desensitizing them to violence. So that they think that it's okay to do some of the crazy things that they're doing.
Dave?
I agree. I think we are desensitized as a society. And in a video game, you can get killed 3 times and still come back and play that game.
Right.
And I think the reality is that we are just desensitized to that.
Keith?
Culture of violence. I mean, I'm kind of disagreeing with both of them. I think that if economics plays a point, if you look at economics points to violence in any community. So let's get people jobs, and then let's come back to this same question a year later after everybody
most
had
of the
jobs.
mass shooters are old or young white guys that are nutcases who have a lot of money. I mean, there's no pattern to it. They got assault weapons and.
Yeah, but for most of society, they're not pointing to those individuals. They pointing to communities of color for the violence statistics.
All right,
and that equates to jobs.
Right. Very quickly, in addition to school shootings, we have a lot of increased threats. Walkertown got one. Alamance Schools got 2 the other day. It's already a felony, but my problem is the sentencing varies from state to state. Should we have a federal guideline minimum prison time for calling in a threat of a school shooting quickly, Ursula?
No, I don't think so. I think the state should really decide that.
Dave?
I agree with Ursula.
Keith?
Yeah, I agree with Ursula on that.
Changing topics, in other news, Greensboro City Council is proposing to uphold its ban on panhandlers. Meanwhile, advocates for homeless people say that ban is discriminatory. Should all cities ban panhandling, or do you think the universal ban would be unfair to homeless people? Ursula?
I think it's unfair. We need to give them opportunities to have jobs.
Dave?
I agree with that. We need to give them training and try to pull them off the street and give them some career.
Mr. Cranberry?
Unfair to homeless people. There shouldn't be homeless people in the United States.
Which goes to your other point.
That's exactly goes to. Why are there homeless people in the United States when we're giving billions of dollars in other avenues? Why are there homeless people in the U.S.?
Right. Well, Ivanka got, 13 new patents passed in China, so maybe she can use some of that money for
I'm not touching that, Jim.
panhandling. I know. All right, finally, Facebook is now, this is weird, Facebook is now asking members to send in nude photos of themselves so that the company can have a digital fingerprint to refer to in case someone tries to post revenge porn. Guys and gals, does this make any sense to you at all? And would you send a Facebook nude photo of yourself? Ursula?
Under no circumstances.
Does it make any sense?
Absolutely not.
Dave?
No, I think it would just put people off their feeding.
They don't want to see a picture of you?
They don't want to see a
Keith, I know
picture.
you're proud of your physique.
I would absolutely send a nude picture.
The weird part is he's going to send it to Dave and not Ursula. That's the weird part.
I would not do that.
Yeah.
Not in no circumstance.
Yeah, that's all the time. That's all the time we have. Oh, except for this. A man in Great Britain recently opened his box of cereal and a 3-foot snake crawled out of the box. Asked if he was upset, the man said, "Certainly not. Having a snake in your cereal is good fang shui." See, it's a feng shui. It's a feng.
Right.
I think the man mispronounced
Yeah,
it.
sure.
And Ogie, get well. We'll see you. We'll see everybody next week. Thanks.